Quick video. It is September 1st, 2023 is just kind of zooming by, and I wanted to check in because it's really important as you kind of go through the year. At the beginning of the year, you set goals and targets. Throughout the year, maybe you kind of reset goals and you kind of restructure. But if you don't have a consistent process where you pause at the end of each month, at the end of each quarter, to look back, to see if you're on track, if you're off track, to reset your goals and your plans, the year will just pass you by. And so I'd love to just kind of check in, kind of share some of the key things I'd like to encourage you to do at the beginning of this month to kind of set yourself up to just crush it in September. So let me know in the comments, how was August for you? How's this third quarter progressing for you? Let me know, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being it's an amazing quarter, you're crushing it, 1 being not so good, way off track, things are totally falling apart on you. And if you have a big win this year, like something cool that's happened or something that you've accomplished or some milestone that you've crossed, put that in the comments as well. So I really think at the end of every period, and so this is at the end of the quarter, end of the month, end of the year, there's 4 things you want to do every single time. You want to review. Okay, look, are we on track or are we off track? Because one of the worst things you can do is set goals and targets, right? Okay, just like set goals and targets out into the ether, but never stop for a minute to look and see like did I get that done? Are we on track? Are we off track? And so first thing we can do is we got to review, kind of look back a little bit. From there, we need to recognize what we have accomplished, right? There's always more we want to get done. There's always something to be excited about on the horizon. But if you don't take a minute to look back and acknowledge, well, last month, what did we get done? What is there to celebrate? Then you're not going to create the momentum that you want. And so you want to take a minute to celebrate your outcomes. You want to let the team know, hey, our goal was to get this, and this is what we accomplished. Or, hey guys, last month we didn't hit the goal, but here's some really good things that happened. You get more of what you celebrate for yourself, for your team, for your family. So make sure you take a couple minutes to celebrate some of the accomplishments in August. From there, you definitely want to reset, right? It's a new month. Don't just continue to press forward and feel like you're running on a hamster wheel. Be sure to hit the reset button and say, okay, it's a new month. What are we going to get done in September? What's the new action plan that we're going to put in place? What are the activities we're going to do to make sure we knock it out of the park? And really make sure you go into a new month completely refocused and recharged for yourself and for your team. And so I just want to walk through a couple things I'd suggest you do today or kind of going into this weekend so that you can really set yourself up for success in September and to close this third quarter as strong as possible. Thing number 1 that I'm going to encourage you to do is update the sales and retention tracking sheet for last month. And if you haven't updated your sales retention tracking sheet or you don't have this in place yet, type in sales retention tracking sheet, and I'll make sure to get you the links and the details on how to set that up. But really what this is at the beginning of the year, we should have set a goal for the year, and we should have broken that down by month and broken it down by quarter. And every month you should be looking at this. This is just to help you say, in this month of August last month, how many clients were we expecting to sell? How much were those clients worth? How much is the recurring revenue we're expecting to grow because of that? At the same time, what are we expecting in terms of churn? Like there's going to be some churn that comes around. What are we expecting in churn? Are we going to lose 1 client, 2 clients? And this helps you and your team know, what's the goal for the month? And on the sales and marketing side, it's growth. On the client retention side, on the delivery side, it's retention. And if you've got a team around you, everyone should know, here's the goal, and we know if we're on track or off track. And so oftentimes I find, members set this up at the beginning of the year, or they set it up at the beginning of a quarter, and they don't revisit it. They don't update the sheet to say, here's how many clients we actually sold. This is how many members we actually churned. And it's not nearly as useful if you don't use it, right? What you measure gets done. What you measure and report always improves. And so you want to make sure you're tracking this. And so this is your reminder. Pull up that sales retention tracking sheet, look back at August, and take a minute to say, are we on track or are we off track? Are we on track with sales? Are we on track with revenue? Is a recurring base where we wanted it to be by this point in the year, by this point in the month? Did we maybe churn more clients than we expected? Really important. And just type in the comments if you happen to have already done this exercise. On track. If you're on track for August, we're off track. Really important to look back. And then you've got to share the feedback with the team. Don't hold this to yourself in a vacuum, right? the only way we're going to accomplish our goals as entrepreneurs is to have the team around us rallying and doing their part and really stepping up in their various areas within the business. And so you want to share that feedback. Hey guys, the goal was to sell 9 clients and we only sold 6. What can we do different? Get them excited, get them to recognize that delta, the difference, the missing component. If you beat the goal, you better let the team know, hey, the goal was to sell 8 and we sold 12. High fives all around. Let's do a little something to celebrate that, but make sure the team is in the loop, right? Oftentimes, as entrepreneurs, we look at these numbers ourselves. Maybe we even internalize the stress of it, but we leave the team out. And we leave the team out of the celebration. We leave the team out of the struggle. And we want to bring them in, right? Because we're all a team and we're going to play better if we're all communicating. So take a couple minutes to share some feedback. And it's really important to send a couple of golden bricks. Now is a good time for you to send a quick Slack message or a quick Facebook message to the team member that did something good for you last month. Maybe they learned something new. Maybe they implemented something new. Let them know that you appreciate them. Let them know that their effort is being seen. So we're going to share some feedback. Number 3 is we're going to look at the number of strategy sessions. I think when it comes to the growth within your agency, typically the missing component is not having enough strategy sessions. And that's a sales appointment. It's a meeting with an ideal prospect. All of us need to be tracking not just how many sales did we get and how many clients did we lose, but the KPI behind that is how many appointments did we have or did our sales team have in order to expect to hit those targets. And so how many strategy sessions did we actually conduct this last month? Was it enough? Like assuming a 30 to 35% close ratio, was it enough to hit the targets that you set out? And if not, that's a big eye opener to say, hey, if we want to crush it in September, we're going to need to get that number up. And I really think the minimum number here is 15. If your company is not getting at least 15 strategy sessions per month, something needs to change, right? At least 15 is going to keep you in momentum, keep you ahead of churn. Ideally, if you've got a sales team and you've got the bandwidth, let's go even bigger. But the minimum threshold here is 15. If you happen to know this number off the top of your head, I think most of you do and most of you should. How many did you have? Was there 7 last month? Was there 50 last month? Was there 72? I know a couple of the members in the program, you guys did 50 plus clients this month. That's just insane. Brady Sticker, unbelievable, amazing work. So number of strategy sessions, we're looking at that number. And then we want to look at and we want to work the growth system, right? We think about filling our funnel, lots of different things, right? Doing our cold outreach, running our Facebook ads, doing our monthly webinar method and our podcast, being at industry events and association meetings. Really, I want you to, at the beginning of this month, just take a minute and say, what's the webinar for this month, right? We all know we need to do a webinar every month. Sometimes we do it one month and then we forget the next and we come back to it. Well, if you have it on the calendar, it's going to get done. So I'm telling you right now is your opportunity to say, pick a date, a Thursday or a Wednesday later this month, and pick your topic, right? And as members, you guys have access to our entire inventory of presentations. Could it be, how to set up your website for maximum conversion? Could it be how to leverage automation in your, niche to generate better leads and sales? Could it be how to leverage Facebook ads to keep your funnel full? Could it be, how to do SEO? What's the topic, right? And remember, when we do the webinar, it creates new content. It gives us a reason to email the list. A bunch of the people that register are going to wind up going straight to the appointment and scheduling a time. And it also forces us to create content, which are going to go to YouTube, go to the podcast, and further position us as the experts in the space. So let me know in the comments, webinar, if you've got your webinar locked and loaded. This is your reminder. We all should be doing at least one webinar per month. And then we're going to do the podcast interview, right? Who are you going to interview this month? Simple stuff, right? One webinar, one podcast. I want you to right now just write down who's it going to be, what's the date. And if you don't have anybody on the schedule for the interview, now's the time. Send out a message or two. Hey, I'd love to interview for the podcast. When's a good time to have you on? Now's the time. Let's get these 2 core marketing activities, core positioning activities in place. Again, these 2 things will make you prolific in the industry, and they will start to develop this inbound momentum where prospects start to look at you as the expert within the space. And then also, I want you to be looking forward, maybe not this month, but as you look at the next couple of months, what industry events do you have on the calendar, right? We know that our prospects are gathering, and they're gathering at continuing education, they're gathering at conferences, they're gathering at mastermind groups. Where are those events happening, and how can we get out from behind our desk and live in person with our ideal clients? Just take a couple minutes, run the Google search, figure out what events are coming up. Don't sleep on your hands, because if there's an event coming up in October, and right now we're in the beginning of September, if you wait until the first week in October, it's probably too late, right? Maybe you can't get on the you can't get the travel done. Maybe you can't get it on the calendar, but now's the time to start looking at that for the rest of this year. So let's make sure we're working that growth system. I also did a training earlier this month for you guys on leveraging lead ads and personal ads in order to fill your funnel. And a couple of you guys have already implemented this, tested this, and are starting to get a lower cost per lead. If you missed it, go back and watch that training, members. Because something we should be doing daily is running ads, right? Whether it's retargeted or whether it's to our custom audience, we should be running ads that further position us and bring people into our calendar so we can get that minimum 15 strategy sessions per month. So we want to work the growth system. These are the things that are going to help crush it in September if we're just doing these key activities to make sure we get our 15 plus strategy sessions. Now, the other thing I want to really encourage you to do by the end of this month is to review your P&L. Today might be a little bit early. I don't know if you've got dynamically updated books, whether it's on QuickBooks or on Xero. But the fact is, as the owner, you've got to spend a couple minutes to look back and say, okay, how much revenue did we actually generate? How much did we spend? What were our expenses? What's our gross margin? What's our profit, right? If you're not managing the profit, you will spend every dollar, right? And you won't earn the profit that you deserve within the business. So be sure you've looked at the P&Ls. Is there anything that stands out in terms of costs or subscriptions that you're incurring that aren't actually moving you forward, that aren't helping you accomplish your goals? And so these are the things I want to make sure that you've looked at, that you're looking at for the month. Be sure to take a couple minutes to acknowledge the team for their accomplishments. And if you haven't already, let me know in the comments, how was last quarter? So that's it, or last month. That's it for this video. Hopefully do this work. You'll be positioned to really crush it in September. And let's make it an amazing September. Let's close Q3 super strong. Another quick announcement for those of you still watching. This Monday is a holiday, right? So we won't be doing our Mentor Mastermind on Monday. That's going to be the following Monday. So usually the first Monday of every month we have that meeting. But because it's a holiday, it'll be the week after. So excited to see you guys there. Excited to mastermind with you. That's it for now. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. And let's make it an amazing September. Talk to you guys soon.